In the quiet corners of history, where stories and truths become tangled, there is a curious puzzle surrounding a well-known nursery rhyme, its true origins hidden for centuries. The classic and playful lines of Humpty Dumpty have been spoken by generations of children, bringing smiles and a sense of wonder. But behind this seemingly simple verse lies a story that is as strange as it is unexpected, a tale that touches upon warfare, politics, and conspiracy. Let us begin a journey back through time, where a fallen character becomes a historical mystery, making us ask, was Humpty Dumpty always just a character in a children's rhyme? And what truths might be hiding in its puzzling beginnings? Welcome, fellow explorers of the past, to a place where we give new life to history, look into ghostly stories, and investigate all the things that make strange sounds in the night. If you are new to our community, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our strange and fascinating tales. At a quick glance, Humpty Dumpty seems to be nothing more than a simple verse meant to capture the imagination. The idea of a plump, egg-like figure sitting uncertainly on a wall brings to mind a playful and charming scene from a storybook. However, like many stories passed down through the ages, the truth behind the rhyme is far more complicated and interesting. Tucked away in its simple lines are whispers of a chaotic time, an era when struggles for power gave the words a much darker meaning than we see today. The first known time the Humpty Dumpty rhyme was written down was in a 1797 book called Juvenile Amusements, though the rhyme itself is likely much older. In this early version, the lines describe Humpty Dumpty falling from a wall, and that 80 men and 80 more could not return him to his original place. A slightly different version appeared around 1810 in Gammer Gurton's Garland, this time mentioning 80 men. Later still, a handwritten copy of Mother Goose's melody used the line, "Could not set Humpty Dumpty up again." In all of these early instances, the important point is that Humpty Dumpty could not be put back on top of the wall, not necessarily that he was broken into pieces. This detail is significant because it supports one of the strongest theories about where the rhyme came from. During the English Civil War, in the year 1648, the town of Colchester was under siege. It is said that a massive cannon was positioned on the town's defensive walls. This formidable weapon, nicknamed Humpty Dumpty, was very effective against the parliamentarian army, but it met a disastrous end. According to the story, enemy cannon fire destroyed the section of the wall where it stood, causing the huge cannon to tumble to the ground below. Because of its incredible size and weight, the many soldiers who tried to lift it back into position failed completely. Without their best defense, the town of Colchester eventually had to give up and open its gates. The siege of Colchester was a tragic and important event in the English Civil War. Could the nursery rhyme we know today be an echo of that time? A quiet tribute to the struggle and sacrifice of those who fought in that defining moment of English history. Interestingly, back in the 17th century, the phrase Humpty Dumpty also referred to a curious drink made from brandy and ale that was served warm. By the 1700s, the term had evolved to describe a short, clumsy person, or someone who had had a little too much to drink. These historical clues have led some experts to believe that Humpty Dumpty might not have started as a song at all, but rather as a clever riddle, especially given its short four-line structure and the many possible meanings of its words. During the 17th century, riddles were incredibly popular in England, capturing the imagination of people from all walks of life and creating a culture of witty amusement. The clever and puzzling nature of riddles made them a unique form of entertainment that appealed to both the educated elite and the common people. With their witty wordplay and surprising answers, riddles became a favorite activity, appearing in books, at social gatherings, and in casual conversations. These puzzles were a fun exercise for the mind and reflected the culture of the time, offering an experience that everyone could share. Thinking about this adds an interesting layer to Humpty Dumpty's story, suggesting that hidden within its simple lines, there may have been a tricky puzzle just waiting for curious minds of the past to solve. Among the various theories, there is one darker interpretation that suggests the character of Humpty Dumpty was actually King Richard III. Richard III's short but impactful rule over England, from 1483 to 1485, was filled with treachery. When his brother, King Edward IV, died, the throne was meant to pass to his young son, Edward V. However, because Edward was just a boy in 1483, his uncle Richard was chosen to rule as regent until he was old enough. Richard, seeing a chance to take power for himself, acted swiftly. He had young Edward and his even younger brother, also named Richard, placed in the Tower of London, and the two princes were never seen again. Their voices were silenced, and their exact fate remains one of history's great mysteries. However, it is widely believed that Richard had his own nephews killed in order to clear his path to the throne. The name Humpty Dumpty could have been a cruel nickname for the king, referring to his physical appearance. Historians of the time mocked Richard for having a humped back or being deformed. Shakespeare later cemented this image, famously describing him as a poisonous bunch-backed toad in his play, first performed in the early 1600s. However, in 2012, an archaeological dig beneath a parking lot in Leicester uncovered a skeleton with battle injuries and a curved spine. DNA testing later confirmed that these were the remains of Richard III, and they showed that rather than being deformed, he had scoliosis, a condition that might have made one of his shoulders appear lower than the other. Adding another layer to the theory, it's said that Richard III owned a horse named Wall, perhaps a reference to its large size. The wall in the rhyme could also be a metaphor for his rule over England. Richard was defeated at the Battle of Bosworth Field, a crucial conflict in English history that took place on August 22, 1485. This battle was the final clash in the Wars of the Roses, a long struggle for the English throne between the rival houses of Lancaster and York. The battle took place near Market Bosworth, where King Richard III and his Yorkist army faced the Lancastrian forces led by Henry Tudor. Richard's reign had been filled with controversy, and at the battle, his army was outnumbered and outmaneuvered. The conflict ended with Richard's death on the battlefield and Henry Tudor's victory. This victory allowed the Tudor dynasty to take the English throne, with Henry becoming King Henry VII. The line in the rhyme that says, "All the king's horses and all the king's men could put Humpty together again," may be a dark reference to Richard III falling from his horse and being killed in the battle. The Battle of Bosworth Field not only ended the Wars of the Roses, but also began a new era in English history, shaping the nation's monarchy for generations. The most observant among you may have noticed a curious fact about the Humpty Dumpty nursery rhyme. The original words never actually say that Humpty is an egg. Yet, this image has become completely intertwined with our idea of the character, thanks to popular culture. The origin of Humpty as an egg can be traced directly to the 19th century and to the brilliant mind of Lewis Carroll, the author of the beloved Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. In his sequel, Through the Looking Glass, Carroll introduced a whimsical character named Humpty Dumpty, who was shaped like an egg and had a charmingly quirky personality. Since that time, Humpty Dumpty has been universally seen as an egg. The exact reason this image has lasted for so long is a mystery. Some believe that Lewis Carroll's portrayal perfectly captured the fragile nature of the character in the rhyme, while others think it's simply connected with the powerful imaginations of children. Whatever the reason, Humpty's fate was sealed, and from that point on, the name Humpty Dumpty has always been associated with the image of an egg. As we think back on the surprising origins of Humpty Dumpty, let us not only enjoy the simple delight of its playful lines, but also appreciate the secrets that it holds. It is a quiet reminder that even the most simple and unassuming tales can be doorways to a world of discovery, wonder, and mystery. Stay with us, because our adventure does not end here. We have more chilling stories, haunting histories, and strange practices to explore in our future journeys. Until then, keep looking into the unknown, uncovering fascinating facts, and feeding your endless curiosity. We will see you again soon.